All right, boys, let's go.
What's up, everybody? I'm Cheech with On the Water's Northeast Offshore Fishing Report. Again, solo. Got nobody, no help. I only got Jimmy Fee in sticker form, but I'm doing a little better than he is. That poor guy he is stranded in somewhere in Canada in the Northwest Territories due to some airline strike. I don't know. Last I heard, he was drinking toilet water to survive. It's gotten ugly, and it's the price he's paying for absolutely abusing the fish up there. Arctic char and grayling, and he got into some 30-pound plus lake trout. But who cares? Because we're here to talk about offshore fishing. So eventually he'll make it back here. And I actually got out this weekend, got to the edge. I was super excited. It's been way too long since I've made a canyon trip. It's just the life of young kids and sports schedules and all that stuff and work, all that stuff that sucks time from getting out. But I made it to the blue water. I got out with a buddy, Pat Gregory, and his dad on the Gotta Do. It's a 42-foot Hydra Sport. Sweet boat to be blasting out there with the weather that we had. We left at about 1 o'clock on Saturday and returned around, 2:30 on Sunday. And it was like, the typical canyon trip. It was a fun crew. We started up on the evening troll. We located some life away from everybody, but kind of moved on before we had really investigated what was there. And then we put the spread out, and we kind of worked the edges of the spread and amongst the other boats that were out there, about 100 of our closest friends, and picked away at about a 80 pound yellowfin, real solid yellowfin nonetheless on the troll. And Pat's buddy Elliot knocked out the first yellowfin off of his species list, which was pretty cool. So started off kind of going in the right direction, and then it just petered out on the night troll. Didn't get that Wolfpack big eye bite we were hoping for, and no other bites on the big yellows that were in there. So we set up for the night drift, and we were kind of on our own, and we were in an area that was the right depths. And I made some poke with some yellowfin tuna that I had brought for the crew. We ate that, and was hoping to kind of check that swordfish off the box. But that bite came, an hour and 10-minute fight, and hook pulled 25 feet below the surface. This fish did something I didn't even know was in their bag of tricks. I hate them. I don't like swordfish. They're hard to seal the deal on, and it was a heartbreaker. I'm still crushed. The fish was digging down. You could see the light. We knew it was close, and then all of a sudden it really dug and took a couple turns of drag off, and in one motion just kind of went into this backward somersault, almost like it was turning back towards the boat to spear it, and swam up, shaking its head, and hook pulled, weight and light popped out of the water. And I don't know, I was despondent for about a good 30 minutes. So kind of licked my wounds, and then was pretty miserable. And then somewhere around 2:30 in the morning, we started getting some action again with some marks. I thought maybe they were big eye, and had a Ron Z dead stick, so I dropped some jigs down. We had the sword spread still out. That was our only sword bite of the night. Felt like a big fish too. Man, can you tell I'm hurting? But in any event, I was able to tease up a rat yellowfin to get some excitement going at about 2:30 in the morning, and then the morning troll sucked. Wasn't good, just there was some fish being jigged. There was some good life that we ended up finding and trolled through, and we were pivoting to drop jigs and poppers. I don't know what happened there. We ended up moving off of that before really investigating it, but we just took our frustrations out on the mahi and got about 30 really quality, nice mahi, perfect eaters, nothing huge. We did see a big one, and that kind of concluded our trip, but just a great crew through and through, and it was a lot of laughs. It was fun. There was some heartbreak. Had all the makings of a typical canyon love story. Was not complaining with with coming back with some fresh yellowfin though, and a bunch of mahi. So the sword will have to wait. So we'll jump right into this thing. I'm going to start up north, work my way south like I typically do, and heard from Captain Bob from Seacoast, New Hampshire Sport Fishing. He said, perhaps to provide salve to our wounds over the wreck fish closure, those fish are now south deep into Ipswich Bay. Drive-by feeds on pogie schools like we had is making it difficult for those guys to pattern. And there's more fishing than catching. Side note, the Super Saner that scoured every last pogie from Scantum over the last few weeks was tying up at the Portsmouth Commercial Pier this afternoon, hopefully for a long stay. On the giant front, it is widespread but not wide open. Fish are being taken every commercial day from the fingers on northern Jeffries down through the Curl and even further south to Pigeon Hill. On Tuesday, our last trip, we released a small giant at Pigeon and missed the bite on our target wreckfish. Scantum is also producing again. Herring have moved in, adding more to the feed bag, overflowing with mackerel. As I write this, 3 boats are hooked up on Scantum right now, rewarding the late night shift. Sharks seem to vary by the day. Blues are thick some day, others not. Poor beagle's still in the mix, even with the surface water temperatures up to 74 degrees. No threshers so far, but with September around the corner and uber mackerel, we expect to see a few of those. Great report, as always, from Captain Bob from Seacoast, New Hampshire Sport Fishing. If you're up that way, give him a holler, get out with him, support him. All these charter captains are kind of, having a tough go of it with the wreck closure. So, it's always good to get out, bend some rods, have some fun, and I highly encourage it because a day tuna fishing is better than most days doing anything else. That I can attest to.
This report is brought to you by Akuma Fishing Tackle. Whether you're battling big game offshore or casting from the shore, Akuma gear is built to perform when it matters most. Learn more at AkumaFishingUSA.com.
Talked to Joe from Fisherman's Outfitter in Gloucester. He said status quo. Pretty much been the same story all year long. He said nothing crazy. Pogie schools in Boston Harbor and Salem, they're getting, blitzed by the occasional giant, and you just kind of got to be right place, right time, and luck into that. It's not something you can plan on. He said there's tons of shark on middle bank of Stellwagen. Big fish are being caught on the northern end of the bank. It's very spread out. Same up north. Cove, southern Jeffries, guys are seeing some things. But I say all that to say it's been so spread out in onesie-twosie that there really isn't anything solid enough to say just go here, right? That's kind of what it's been. Once you kind of get around the tip of P-Town and head towards Stellwagen from the southwest corner all the way north to, the northern grounds, Jeffries and all those main spots up that way, it just has been very spotty. So moving on further south out of Weymouth, Monahan's Marine, I talked to Captain Connor. We kind of shared, misery stories on swordfish. He's obviously caught plenty of them, but they're heartbreakers. And we were kind of talking about different strategies that have seemed to work, but then when you figure out something's working, all of a sudden you pull a hook. And he said out east, canyons have been good. Oceanographer has big eyes, yellowfin tuna, and some big blue marlin being caught. He said he's heard some whispers of wreckfish showing up in Stellwagen, which is a change of pace. He said it's been real quiet. It hasn't really turned into anything, noteworthy yet, but whispers are good. Maybe it's a precursor to something, and there's some fish to be had, on the wreck side to have some fun over in that area. He said there is a giant bite starting to materialize between southwest corner and P-Town. Again, it's very onesie-twosie. There's not much, and there's not much effort on the wreck side of things, which has kind of stymied the inshore offshore report some. He said the sword has remained good. One of his clients went 1 for 4 soaking live baits, which were solid commercial fish, the one that he did land. And he said he heard that the windmills turned back on again in the Cox's area towards the end of last week, which it did kind of cool off a little bit. So that's kind of good to hear, and no surprise as well. OTW's own Jack Larazada got out Sunday with Captain Carter from Joe DiOrio Guide Service. He fished the Habs area. that's been a real productive spot for some time now. And it seems like, but Gully to Haps has been kind of the zone for going out and getting the rods bent on a regular basis. So it's all jigging, it's some popping in the mix. So they got out there, and he said there was plenty of whales and dolphins that greeted them. It had been a good jig bite, but apparently Jack zigs when everyone else jigs. Picked up a skipper, a Joe Bag skipper, which has been a staple for him all season. It said it's been like one of his most productive topwater lures, and he was working it super slow, and a fat school bluefin tuna smoked it. Everyone followed suit because who doesn't love a popper bite? And they went 2 for 3 on the Joe Bag skipper, and then ultimately that kind of petered out a little bit, he said, and they picked away at fish on jigs after the surface action subsided. He said with 20 minutes left in the trip, they were kind of reliving their little, flurry of topwater stuff from the morning. And Captain Carter picked up a popping rod with a skipper tied on it and lobbed a long cast, and it got absolutely annihilated boat side by a commercial-sized giant in that mid-70-inch range, and it was a demon fish. Those ones can be tough. 3 hours plus on this fish. It was a merry-go-round fight, he said, swapping anglers for fresh arms. They had brought a knife to a gunfight. They were armed with a 14K Shimano twin power and a light Jigging World Luminous popping rod. And he said they finally got the fish to hand. And in Jack's words, he said, that's the most fun I never want to have again. They were sore following the following day. Got a picture of that beast that looks like Captain jumped in the water to take a fish pic with it, which is pretty funny. Fish mapping is SiriusXM Marine's most comprehensive plan and is available on your boat's display and includes access on your phone or tablet via the fish mapping app. Serious anglers use every advantage available, and SiriusXM marks the spots where bait fish gather and game fish hunt. Learn more at SiriusXM.com/fish mapping. I talked to Captain Chris Oliver from Keeping It Real Sport Fishing. He said, we got out to the Brick Rock area before Hurricane Erin comes and shuts things down for a little bit. And he said off Montauk, Yellowfin continued to keep the rods bent for our clients this trip. They were on the smaller side, though. They had some bigger fish in there, but they seemed to have kind of downshifted to a little smaller. We were hoping to see some big guys come aboard, but despite marking them and seeing them air out in the spread, we were not able to get tight with them. Nice mahi rounded off our catch. We will be doing some boat maintenance and repairs during the blow over the next few days as we feel the effects of Hurricane Erin. We will return to the grounds as soon as this blow has gone past. So we got some photos there from Captain Chris, and just going to keep rolling from on a southerly direction. I talked to Jeff Lamonaco at Whitewater Outfitters. He said prior to the blow, the yellowfin tuna in the 30 to 40 mile range with giants mixed in has been the ticket. He said giants are even closer in some areas. Any way you wanted the yellows, whether it be troll, on jigs, some on poppers, even some taking a developing chunk bite, which everyone loves that chunk bite. That seems to have been pretty consistent in the fall, with the exception of some years it just never materialized. That seems to be a theme both on the inshore grounds and as you get out to the edge. Obviously, word's gotten out because for our canyon trip, my buddy Ty, who we get reports from on a regular basis with Kona Sport Fishing, he went on a witch hunt looking for flats of either sardines or butterfish, and everybody was sold out. So that's usually a pretty good sign that there's a chunk bite to be had. Jeff also said there's good size mahi around, not far either, 15 miles on pots and float Sam. So if you're in that Montauk area, that head out. You don't have to go far to get on the mahi. And he said Hudson and West Atlantis had phenomenal white marlin fishing, which has been a recurring theme. I also heard from Captain Anthony from Narked Up Charters. He hit me up on the gram. He fishes out of Shark River, New Jersey, and offers sport fishing and diving adventures, and gave me a report and shared this reel that he tagged us in. They were trolling for yellowfin tuna around the Triple Rex area. They had 5 to 6 whales around them working bait and multiple pods of dolphins. Saw some small tuna on the surface. When in 200 feet of water, they hooked up to a 60 to 70 pound white marlin that ate a chatter lure side tracker. So the coolest thing was it aired out twice with the whole wide tracker in tow. That's a pretty cool sight to see. And they got it to hand where it was safely released, as you can see in the video. And thanks for checking in to Captain Anthony from Knocked Up Charters. Also out of New Jersey, Cole from Salty Love Sport Fishing kicked in a report. He checked in last week, and they were the ones that got that buzzer beater trip on the last day that you could keep wreck fish. And he said they've been keeping bent rods and coolers filled. They've been jigging bluefins for fun, and then there's been steady action for everyone on board with bluefin season now closed, targeting yellowfin. The fish have been consistently on the 40-fathom line, so we will see what will come of that bite after this storm blows by, and hoping that the chunking season begins to really kind of take shape. So that's the game plan from him going forward, and he last left him on the 40-fathom curve, again, fishing out of Shark River, New Jersey. So if you're in reach for there, that might be a good starting point to check out once sea conditions allow. All right. A little further south, checked in with the Real Seat. Boss man Eric said there's a hurricane. And then he kicked me to Oscar, who's on the front lines working the shop floor. He said there's been plenty of white marlin on the Hudson. Big eyes on the southwest corner, and further out between the dip and Block Canyon, good-sized yellowfin with a good amount of big eye, and some longfins in the mix, which is cool because that kind of like ebbs and flows from one season to another, where they're just ghosts, and then all of a sudden a flurry of them show up in the fall, and people are having fun with a new species in the tuna mix, which is always cool. I've never caught a longfin. It'd be cool to put hands on one of those little penguins. He said, finally seeing fish on the chunk bite. Again, recurrent theme there. So if you're going to make it out there, it just gives you a second option on the overnight side of things, especially if you're fishing out on the edge. And then the inshore side of things, who doesn't love a good chunk bite? So he said there's been fish southeast of Chicken Canyon, but it seems to have slowed down there. He said the mahi offshore in the canyons have been really good size, with inshore pots also being productive that you don't have to go as far for. Moving on down, kind of starting to get into the tournament side of things, on the water alum Greg Miller, who used to work on the sales team here. He lives down in New Jersey. He was fishing on Tiburon with his boys from the Ledge Fever crew. I actually fished on Tiburon with him for a canyon trip during the eclipse, way back when everyone had their welder's masks out and looking at the sun, burning their retinas. And I kind of was joking around, like, this hasn't happened in, I don't know what it was. It was like 100 years. I don't really pay attention to those minor details, but I knew the sun was going to totally eclipse and it was going to go dark out there. And I was just like, imagine if this was the most epic big bite ever. Unfortunately, the trip wasn't all that great. I think we just got some mahi and some tilefish. We couldn't find the tuna, couldn't find the billfish. It was a tough go of it, but an awesome crew to fish with nonetheless. They took down first place in the tuna category, cashing a cool $20,000 check in the OCMTC Offshore Open. So congrats to that crew. The winning fish ate a purple sterling tackle cedar flex bar. I got some pictures in here for you guys to enjoy. And the Captain FX, also known as Francis Massey, he just picked up a new 46-foot release, which they broke that boat in style. Great job, Cap. Love to see you guys get on top of that tournament. That's real cool. Segueing into things, I'm going to kick things over to the crew from the Canyon Runner, who always give us a great report, and they'll kind of give you a complete rundown of all the effort and what that led to, because we had some great weather. Looking out ahead, we don't have such good weather. So let's kind of look at this as an opportunity to see what's going to happen after this blow and where things were best. Take it away, Canyon Runner. The Canyon Runner Sport Fishing Team is here to help you catch fish. They offer coaching and concierge services, seminars, and the Canyon Runner map powered by Vim, which will exponentially help increase your catches inshore, midshore, and out in the canyons. The report they provide gives you a sampling of how Canyon Runner maps work, which serves as your co-captain, providing all the fish catching and safety intel, including a built-in warning system and more. It gives you the ability to track over 550 member boats and 25 pro staff boats in real time. Check them out at canyonrunner.com.
Good afternoon, Jimmy and Cheech. This is Captain Dean Lambros from the Canyon Runner Member and Intel Service, giving you our week of August 10th through August 17th offshore report. We had another very busy week here on the boat map, as you could see, with boats fishing essentially from North Carolina, Bahamas, Florida, all the way through eastern Massachusetts. As always, we'll start here on the southern end of things and we'll move up the road. We had our local pro staff, Captain Greg Mayer, on a fishing frenzy, fishing due east of Oregon Inlet, all the way up to an area we call triple zeros, where he's found scattered tuna, dolphin, mahi-mahi, and white marlin. Typically, this time of year, the water gets very hot and the fishing gets scrappy, as they call it. But overall, Greg continues to put together some great catches. Moving north and north and east, Virginia Beach, Ocean City, Maryland, south of Cape May, we continue to see great yellowfin action in an area called Wayne's World and in the Norfolk Canyon, where we see a lot of fishermen fishing for white marlin as well. This has really been the best game in town for yellowfin tunas on the East Coast right now, below the Hudson Canyon. It's been an area that's been producing for the last month or so, and quality yellowfins have been caught there. So it's been great for those folks fishing locally. Up the line, Norfolk, Washington, Poor Man's, South Poor Man's, into the Baltimore canyons. We're seeing scattered dolphin, yellowfin, and blue marlin. A lot of the action's been associated right around this 100. Locally to Ocean City, the tuna fishing's been decent, between 20 and 30 fathoms in this food court area. It does move around a lot between the hot dog, the ham bone, pork chop, teacup, but it has been producing, and these folks are just fishing on life. So birds, whales, mammals, etc. Moving north and east again, Wilmington, Spencer, Lindencoal, Carteret Canyons. We're starting to see scattered marlin, white marlin, blue marlin, and dolphin. We have seen some associated tuna bites here in the Toms area as there's this nice slug of bluer water starts to move down the line, bringing in fresh blue water to these areas. Keep in mind, this was a bye week of nice weather between the White Marlin Open and the Mid-Atlantic. We also did see some blue marlin, dolphin, and some bluefin tunas caught around the Cigar, so east of Cape May. Moving north and east into the Toms, we saw a spectacular big eye bite, yellowfin bite, longfin, and then an unbelievable white marlin bite. And those boats fishing the Beach Haven Invitational were greeted with double-digit white bites. Really incredible action. We've even heard as high as 40 plus bites on an overnight trip for some of the local boats. Really a treat. And quite frankly, for those that say you can't catch marlin east of the Hudson, that is false, because there's some spectacular white marlin fishing happening right now locally. Triple Rex area had good yellowfin action, as well as east of the Bacardi earlier in the week. Later in the week, the bite did die a little bit. And then moving easternly here, Virginia, Linda area, and then also east of the shipping lanes, saw random bluefins and a sporadic yellowfin caught in these locations. Moving to the east here, zigzag, dip, fishtails. We had the Hamptons offshore shootout where we saw great big eye, wahoo, and yellowfin and longfin action and dolphin action in these spots. And again, these all spots right now, canyons with blue water. It's been great fishing. South of Montauk, now that we have recreational bluefin closed, is sporadic coverage, but we are still catching and releasing bluefin tuna. Locally, just south of Shinnecock, around 12 miles, there's been a scattered giant bite, and then also overclass recreational bluefin tuna between 47 and 72 inches. Moving to the east, fishtails, area of the old weather buoys, East Atlantis, West Atlantis, Atlantis area. They've seen scattered big eye, yellowfin, longfin, and wahoo in these areas, as well as nice classic dolphin. South of Block, again, same thing in the windmills, also seeing recreational bluefins being caught and released. And then we're also starting to see the white marlins really kick into gear here south of Nantucket and Martha's Vineyard. Larger class of white marlin than what you see typically offshore, but really good fishing overall. Continuing to the east, we've had some of our pro staff and some of our members fish hydrographers, no name, Welker, Oceanographer Canyon, and that's going to be the back edge of the water. Really textbook setup. Beautiful slug of nice blue water in here, mid 70s. Big eye, yellowfin, longfin, all remain the same. They all remain king here, and it's just been great fishing. As you can see, where our members have been fishing. It's been really incredible fishing. We're also hearing great daytime sword action in these locations for those folks that are putting the effort in now. And we are starting to see more and more swords. which is spectacular. Moving east of the Cape here, Regal Sword's been good, Crab Ledge has been good. We are starting to finally hear some scattered fish at Jeffries and Stellwagen Bank, but it's been really a tough year. For whatever reason, those bluefin tunas just don't want to show, and those folks that are commercial fishing, they're struggling. But every year is different. We probably haven't seen a season this tough in about 10 plus years locally from Eastern Cape, North Cape, east of New Hampshire, east of Maine. Thank you again. And this is the Canyon Runner Offshore Report.
All right, so picking things back up, I wanted to just kind of recap some of the recent tournaments. I didn't get to that last weekend. It was, or last week, I should say. The closure on the rec side of things was kind of dominating my thoughts. But we'll pick up with the White Marlin Open results, and I'll let you guys know how everyone made out there. But on the closure, keep in mind, rec fishermen that are catching bluefin, report your catches to NOAA. Check out the close kin mark recapture study that Dr. Walt Gillette is doing. Somebody asked what website it was on in the last report, and I pasted it in under their comment. I will have that pasted in to the description of this one so that if you guys are catching or encountering recreational bluefin, even though you have to release it, let's get that information in there so that they can understand what we're actually seeing out there for the amount of fish, and that close kin recapture will allow the science to go to work to basically map out the genetic family tree of every fish that he gets a rec sample of, so that we can start moving closer and closer to get a better idea, better science to earn back a more robust recreational quota. So without further ado, jumping into the offshore tournament circuit. The 2025 White Marlin Open concluded August 10th, and first place boat was Bill Fisher. Dan Gough, I think is Gough, got a 72-pound White Marlin, paying out a crisp $3.9 million. Second place, Catch 23. My man, Michael Jordan, huge Jordan fan, always was a huge Jordan fan. Way better than LeBron. That argument is ridiculous. So if you're a LeBron over Jordan guy, I need to hear from you because that's just crazy. So angler Trey Cricket McMillan got a 71-pound white marlin. I'm happy for Bill Fisher, but because Catch 23 doesn't need the funds, although that's why they compete, right? They took a $400,000 payout. Talk about a dream experience. Imagine getting out and fishing with Jordan. How badass would that be? Be amazing. Moving on down, the Blue Marlin division. First place boat went to Barbara B. Angler Drew Osmeyer with a 929.5-pound Blue Marlin, earning a payday of $1.24 million. Amazing catch. Great job to that team. And I'll just kind of rattle off the rest of the winning species and their weights. Tuna division first place went to Seahab, 188-pound bluefin, and that netted them $764,300. Again, this tournament concluded before the closure. The Wahoo division went to, I skipped second and third on tuna. Shorebilly, 186.5-pounder, netted $85,600. Third place went to Mama C at 95 pounds, netting a cool $111,500. The Wahoo division was a 49.5-pound Wahoo worth $74,000 and some change, caught by Shooting Star. Barbara B took down the Mahi division at 32.5 pounds. It's a really nice Mahi for the Northeast, netting just under 20 grand. Top boat by overall points. Taylor Jean came in first with 1,085 points. Lights Out came in second with 945 points, and third went to Catch 23 with 806 points. Top angler, Rob Wagner aboard Taylor Jean with 595 points. That was everything for the White Marlin Open. On the White Marlin Invitational out of Beach Haven, New Jersey, that concluded most recently this past weekend, August 16th through the 17th. This tournament is known as the oldest White Marlin event in the country and featured 60 boats fishing on 2 of 4 possible days. The top boat went to Business out of Beach Haven. They netted $70,455 for their effort. Second place went to Karma out of Cape May, $66,526. And Benita J out of Beach Haven won just shy of $50,000 with their third place finish. Fourth place went to One Shot out of Forked River. 34,803 was their payday, and notably, Team Sharkbite set a record with 30 white marlin released in a single day during the tournament. Now, if you remember from the earlier reports, we were getting reports from Ty that fishes aboard Sharkbite, and he's been kind of on a gag order with this tournament season, obviously having all this money involved. He's like, dude, I'll give you a good report and a good rundown of how our canyon tournaments went, our offshore tournaments went, but like right now I got to kind of keep it on the hush-hush. So respect that, and we'll be hearing from him again soon after this blow. But in any event, that's the Northeast Offshore Report. I'm Cheech. Hopefully Jimmy makes it back from Canada. Tune in next week and reach out. Let us know how your best hurricane preparations and fun when you can't get out fishing, what that entails. And we'll catch you next week. Hopefully we get some fishing in. Till next time, adios.